What's up, Met fans? Welcome back, Talking Mets and Rob. Mets Talk Live Edition. What's up, everybody? What's up, Met fans? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just got back from LA last night. Wasn't a very fun LA visit when it comes to the Mets and how badly they played in LA. But the focus here today on this live stream is, what do you guys think about the Mets making the playoffs? Do you still believe? I do. There's not a lot of reasons I can give you. It's just that I do feel like the New York Mets, with Lindor coming back today, by the way, and Javi Baez coming back for the last two games, I think that is going to spark this team and is going to help this team, no doubt, 110%. I will be with you guys until 6:30, until the Mets pregame. Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, hit on that subscribe button, everybody. If you're part of the channel, you love this live stream, hit on that like button, guys. Let's get this stream out to more people. We'll be with you until 6:30 tonight, until Mets pregame on SNY. So, guys, the Mets had a bad road trip. We all know that. San Francisco was a disaster. They salvaged the game, the last game. They salvaged the last game of the Dodgers series. But if it really comes down to it, every game was close except for one. If you really think about it, we lost by 1 run, we lost by 2 runs, we lost by 3 runs. We didn't lose by much more than that. I think one game we lost by a lot of runs against the Dodgers, against the Giants. It really, this team is this close from winning a series against the Dodgers and the Giants. That's how close it was. And that was with a Mets team that was not hitting. And we almost won those games. You know, on Saturday against the Dodgers, the Mets didn't really do nothing all day. Nimmo hit the home run off the foul pole in right field. And then McNeil gets on. Alonso hits a 2-run homer. Mets down 4-3. Of course, the Mets don't score after that, and we lose the game. And we lost the game with a bases loaded walk by Castro. So it's little things that this team has been making mistakes with that has been the major problem. Yes, we haven't been hitting, but little things here, when we need the bullpen to step up one game, they fall apart. When we need that extra run, we don't get it. And that's been the biggest problem with this team. You know, we haven't been getting blown out, 8-2, 9-2, 10-2, 5-0. We haven't been getting blown out of games. We've been barely losing games over the last month, basically. There's not a lot of games that we lost by a lot. It's just that if we would hit, score 3-4 runs a game, we might win. We might have won this Giants series. We might have won the Dodgers series. But little things like that cause this team to keep on losing games consistently. And this 10-game homestand, and yes, it would have been a 9-game homestand, but we do have a doubleheader against the Marlins at the end of the road trip, at the end of the homestand. That makes it a 10-game homestand. The New York Mets have to, at the very least, go 7-3 in this homestand to even have a chance to catch up in this division. Because right now we're 6 games out. So 6.5 games out, but we're 6 in the loss column. So that's what the Mets have to do at the very least. And look, the Braves have been hot this whole month. We can't assume that the Braves are going to be hot in the month of September. We don't think. I don't see. They can't be so bad for all these months and then just get hot all of a sudden and just stay that throughout the rest of the season. The same way the Mets haven't been as hot. There's ebbs and flows of the season. So I just think that if the Mets can be, by Labor Day, 3 games out of first place, I think the Mets have a great opportunity, because the schedule is not that bad. We have a lot of games against Washington. We have a lot of games against the Marlins. A lot of them. I think it's roughly about 15 to 16 games out of our last, 38 to 40 games left in the season. We have nearly half our games left, close to half, against the Marlins and Nationals. We have to take advantage of beating those teams. I know we have a hard time with the Marlins and we have a hard time with the Nationals, but we are better than those two teams. We have to beat them. Let me get with your comments really quick, guys. I see everybody rolling in. Joseph, Nelson, Cole, Nody, Bill. Who else is here? What's up, guys? How you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a long time. Sorry I couldn't get go live in LA, but there was a lot of things to do in LA besides the Mets game, so I enjoyed it. I was with my father in LA, so it was just a lot going on. We spent a lot of time outside, so I didn't get the opportunity to go live to hang out with you guys in LA, but it was fun. You probably see I got bags under my eyes. I didn't sleep much. It's a lot of fun, but the more important thing is, can this Mets team, with the last month and a quarter of the season left, we got about, I think it's 40 games exactly to the number, 38 games left. I'm going to do the math right now so I can, give you a better number. So we're 61 and 63. We got 38 games left. All right. We got 38 games left starting from today. So the Mets have 61 wins. The New York Mets, now this is going to be bad. To get to 90 wins, right? Oh, boy. It's to get to 90 wins, this team's going to have to play about close to 700 baseball. Just to get the 90 wins, we need 71, 81. So we need 29 wins to get to 90 wins. So the Mets have to go 29-9 in their last 38 to get the 90 wins. The Braves, which, as you can see here, the Braves are, if I'm checking that really correctly, the Braves are 68 and 57. So the Braves only need 23 wins out of the next 38 to 40 games to get to 90 wins. So now, granted, the Braves have to go 23 and like 13 and 14 to get to 90 wins. So there's a very big possibility that 88, 80, 87, 88, 89 wins around that area from 87 to 90 will win the division in the NL East. That's insane. But the New York Mets have to go 29-9 to get to 90 wins. It didn't look like the Mets are going to have a problem getting to 90 wins. It was just a matter of, what would it take? Maybe 90, 91 games. But it's looking like 90 games is probably the cutoff mark of the team that's going to win the division. And that sucks. Really does suck. Because if the Mets didn't have a total meltdown in August, now I know it started in late July, but it was mostly about August. We were losing games where we should have won the games. I mean, when the Dodgers had all those errors in that game, they won by 12 runs. Like, sometimes it's just the Mets being the Mets. And I really think that the Mets really screwed themselves here. I know we had the injuries. We didn't have Lindor. We didn't have Baez. We barely had any catches for the last week and a half. But it's really frustrating to think that this team in May, who had nobody playing, Conforto was out, McNeil was out, you had Davis out. I mean, you had basically 5 out of your 8 guys in your lineup that was out of your lineup for about a month. And somehow the bench mob helped us through and kept us afloat and got us into first place. And we stayed in first place from May all the way until we lost it in, early August, middle of August. So it's confusing to me because I know the Braves have been hot, but all the Mets had to do, and we talked about this even a month ago, all the Mets had to do is be 500 in August. Because the Braves would have to pay about 15 games over 15 to 20 games, 15 games over 500 just to keep pace of the 3 or 4 games that the Mets had a lead in the NL East. And the Mets played way under 500 ball in August, and the Braves were well over 500 ball in August. And that was like 11 game difference. Like I said, there was 11 game difference that had to take place for the Mets to lose the division in August. And I wasn't even talking about being 6 games out right now. I'm talking about just losing the division right now by a game and a half or 2 in August. So it completely did a 180. And that's the biggest problem with this team. Now, the Mets put themselves in a spot on August 24th, starting today with their 10-game homestand against the Giants. The New York Mets have to go 7-3 at the very least to even worry about getting into September. Because we do face the Braves at the end of the year. So all we have to be is 3 games out. Yes, the Mets would have to sweep them at that point, but it still gives the Mets the opportunity. I think by Labor Day, the Mets have to be no less than 3 games out of first place to have any shot about talking about the division. The wild card is out. There's no possible way the Mets are going to get the wild card. We're 6.5 games out, 6 out in the loss column. The New York Mets have to go 7-3 in this homestand. So let me check your comments really quick, guys. Nelson, I stand with the boys too. It's frustrating. Nobody, I understand it's very frustrating. All this is frustrating. And Bill, about JD Davis. Everybody knows my feeling about JD Davis. I told you he is not going to hit the way everybody expects him to hit and rely on his defense as well. He has to be 98% offense and 2% defense. That's what we had to get from JD Davis. JD Davis couldn't catch up to a fast, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I was at the games in LA. I could not believe how late, and I was in right field most of the games, how late JD Davis was on about 95% of the fastballs that the pitchers has thrown, the LA Dodgers, the Dodger pitchers had thrown. I could not believe, Bill, how bad he was late on fastballs. And I'm not just picking on him because there's a lot of players on the team, a lot of Mets that couldn't catch up to a fastball. And that's been the problem with this Mets team the whole year. They had problems catching up to fastballs, which is ironic because that was the one thing that shouldn't be an issue. You know, every now and then you might be looking breaking ball and, you know, the guy throws a 96-mile-an-hour fastball and you swing late. But you can't have every single swing be late on a fastball. It just doesn't add up. If it's a philosophy issue, is it mindset? I don't know what it is going to the plate. But you can't have half your lineup swinging through fastballs and be late on fastballs. That doesn't make sense. How can you have a philosophy of look breaking ball, adjust on fastball? That's never been a motto. You look fastball, adjust to breaking stuff and off-speed pitches. I don't see why that's so hard. And JD Davis, I'll tell you right now, on Saturday, I wanted to just strangle him. The amount of times he had men on base, swinging through fastballs after fastballs after fastballs. It got so frustrating. I was even telling the guy next to me, he was like, "Oh, here comes your boy Davis," because he even knew when we were talking. It's very frustrating to see a professional baseball player can't hit a fastball. That's fucking insane. And I think, and I'm telling you right now, there is going to be an overhaul of this team. I'm telling you right now. I don't think Davis is going to be back. I think McNeil is going to be gone. I'm telling you right now, I don't think the Mets are going to sign Conforto. I'm going to do a video on probably at the end of the season. If the Mets are not in the playoffs, I'm going to do a video about the 2022 free agents and what the Mets have to do. But the biggest problem is the free agents at the end of the year are not very good. The Mets are not going to have to worry about all the shortstops that are available because we have a shortstop. We might actually have two because they might bring back Baez. So, and the only other legitimate position player that has any help that can help this team is Chris Bryant. And I'm telling you guys right now, I would throw $200+ million at Chris Bryant in a heartbeat. And I got a lot of shit from a lot of you guys, not some of you that here, but some that thought I was insane to not give Conforto money, $200 million, and give Chris Bryant $200 million. I got killed for that. And that was earlier in the season. Before Conforto, everybody realized that Conforto is a piece of crap. Now, I know Conforto's a homegrown talent. I know we came through our system. I get it. But as bad as the season he has had, I would even give him a qualifying offer because he probably will accept the 19 point whatever $million qualifying offer that is on the table if the Mets give him a qualifying offer. I don't even know if the Mets going to do that because you risk the fact of him taking it. Now, granted, I'm not. If he takes the qualifying offer, you got a guy in a 1-year deal who needs to prove himself. Is it the contract weighing over his head that's making him play so bad, the pressure? Or was it maybe, because he did get COVID in spring training, maybe that affected him? I don't know. It affected some players more than others. So, but again, Conforto has always been a streaky player. He'll have a 2-week hot streak and then a 3-week cold streak. That's what he's been doing his whole career. So it seemed like the pressure got too big for him. And I think he can't handle it. I think that's a problem. So my take is I think Chris Bryant is the focus for the Mets in the offseason, 100%. Position player-wise, I'm not talking about pitching. Position player-wise, he has to be the number one focus. Because if you can get Chris Bryant, it gives the Mets options to make other trades. And that comes to the fact what I was talking about with McNeil and Davis. Maybe you can package a McNeil and Davis and a prospect for something that you're looking for. Or to sign Baez and put him at second. If you think Beatty is ready or Vientos, put him at third base. But you have options when you sign Chris Bryant. And the Mets have to sign him early. You can't play games like Alderson has done. What he did with Real Muto. What he did with Springer. All that. That's why Alderson better be out as a GM or player of baseball operations. If you want to make him the president of the team, fine. But anything to do with decisions based on players, get him the hell out of there. Because there's going to be the team like the Giants who actually jumped in front of the Mets when it came to a trade to get Chris Bryant. I don't know if everybody saw those tweets from a couple of reporters that the Mets had a deal in place for Javier Baez and Chris Bryant for only Pete Crow Armstrong and another prospect. And it wasn't a higher prospect than Crow Armstrong. It was a lower prospect. But the Mets weren't willing to do it because of the whole situation with DeGrom, that there was an uncertainty with DeGrom. I'm sorry. If there's an uncertainty with DeGrom, you make that trade 100%. 110%. You have to make that trade. But you give a Pete Crow Armstrong for just Javi Baez, it's just that made no sense to me. The Mets, and that was not including. You would have also got Trevor Williams as well, which we got in the Baez deal. So you would have got Bryant, Baez, and Williams for Pete Crow Armstrong and a lower level prospect. I just don't understand that, guys. I just don't understand that. So I think it has to be. The aggression, the Mets have to be aggressive on Chris Bryant right out of the gate. Do everything you can to sign him because it gives you options to make trades in the offseason because he can play anywhere on the field. You need to play left, he'll play left. You need to play right, he'll play right. You need to play center. If you're in a bind, he can play center. You need him to play first. You need him to play third, second. Look where he played with the Giants. Just in the series against the Giants, he played second, he played first, he played third, and he played right field. 4 positions when we played the Giants. That is a huge asset to have. Huge. And I think it's 100% has to happen. Let me just check your comments, guys. Daniel, what's up? How you doing? I think the Mets are going to sign Marcus Stroman. And Nelson, that's why I wanted Chris Bryant so badly, because Chris Bryant's going to be a hot commodity. Because if you sort of reports, I believe it was Ken Rosenthal, that the Texas Rangers are going to be very aggressive. You got to remember, the Texas Rangers got their new ballpark. They got to get asses in the seats. You can't have a bad team with a new ballpark because it doesn't work. You know, taxpayers pay for that stadium, but you got to make the money to combat all that money that the team is spending and the owners are spending to keep that stadium afloat. I'm telling you right now, you got the Rangers you have to worry about. You have the Giants. Remember, Chris Bryant grew up a Giants fan. So if the Giants are going to have this magical season, they might want to, they talked about Buster Posey getting a new deal. They might want to bring the same crew back. And that is including Chris Bryant. And that's why sometimes you have to make a move. And we all talk about the future. That was a move that the Mets could have made with Chris Bryant to bring him here so you can have exclusive negotiating rights. Because when the season ends, the team that has him is between the end of the season and I think it's like 2 weeks after the season that they have exclusive negotiating rights to speak to the player about a contract. The same thing will happen with Cespedes with the Mets. The Mets had exclusive rights to him to negotiate without any other team getting involved. Now, not saying that Chris Bryant would sign it, he would want to get more teams involved to jack the price up. But there's still a time where the Mets might give him an offer he can't refuse, and we don't have to worry about it. Now, the Giants have exclusive rights to negotiate with him with a contract for those 2 weeks. And there's no reason why he wouldn't sign. But we have to. If the Giants can't sign him within the rights that they have to sign him, I think the Mets have to go after him hard. And then we can sign Stroman and worry about Syndergaard and pitchers like that. Sweaty, you can have JD. He is not good defensively. It's actually not a new camera. It's just that my Wi-Fi is on point right now, so cross our fingers with that. But it's really, I don't like JD Davis. I think everybody expected him to be a 300 hitter or 290 hitter, knocking in a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs. He has to be a great offensive player to make him play every day at third base. And that's the problem. He's not that guy. He's another streaky guy who goes from hitting well. Like you said, Saturday he had about 3 or 4 opportunities with runners on. And Sunday he comes out of it. Oh, thanks. When we needed you on Saturday, when we can easily won the game, if he got a base hit or two, he comes through on Sunday, which is nice. But, it's games like Saturday that hurt us in the standings when it comes to the division. Let's see the comments, guys. Give me 1 second. Don't forget, guys, hit on that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit on that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Cool Spin, what's up, baby? Yeah, I mean, you know what? He's gonna look. Strowman's not stupid. Cool spin. He's not stupid. He's gonna do that. One, he loves to annoy fans. Trust me, he does. It's a smart business move to like a tweet like that with the Angels. Because more competition means more money for him. So, like I said, I like Strowman. He's been our best pitcher this year, minus DeGrom. Well, let's be honest, DeGrom is not nowhere to be found. Strowman's been our best pitcher all year. He's been very consistent. When we needed him to go out there and do well, he did. He pitched really well against the Dodgers on Sunday. You know, it's a smart move to make sure you sign Strowman. But you can't get overboard and overspend for a guy who is a 5-inning pitcher. I'm sorry. 5, maybe 6-inning pitcher. You know, that's what he goes. You know, every now and then he'll throw a 7, 8-inning game. But he's mostly a 5 or 6-inning pitcher who is not great. So are you willing to give him $120 million over 5 or 6 years? Because he's going to get at least $20 million. So you got to think about that too. So as of right now, with the free agent class, with the Mets rotation, you got DeGrom, Carrasco, Taijuan Walker, right? That's your main three. Now, you want to talk about Tyler McGill? You want to talk about David Peterson? If the Mets don't sign anybody, that's your top 5 rotation right there. So, hey there, what's up, buddy? So, without signing Strowman or Syndergaard, that's your rotation for next year. DeGrom, Carrasco, Walker, McGill, Peterson. Now, I still like Peterson. I just think he was injured this year, and I think he tried to fight through it. McGill, we know what McGill is. He's pitching tonight. McGill, I trust. I can trust him going out there every 5th day as a 4 or 5 starter, giving me 5, sometimes 6 innings. 5, 6 innings, 2 runs, maybe 3 runs. That's doable for a 4 or 5 guy. Is Taijuan Walker going to come back next year and be the guy he was in the first half and the last game he pitched against the Dodgers? I don't know. Carrasco, even though he could be healthy, he's not young. What is he, 35 years old? So, Carrasco's not a young guy. So, can we expect him to be that dominant number 2 that we were expecting from Cleveland? I don't know. And DeGrom, if he's healthy, he'll be great. So, that's what I worry about. So, it seems like the Mets, the smart move is to sign Strowman. Now, you also got Syndergaard. Now, would Syndergaard take that qualifying offer? Because the Mets will present Syndergaard with the qualifying offer. There's no doubt about that. Now, I think Syndergaard would take that qualifying offer, take that close to $20 million qualifying offer, stick there, have a show-me season like Strowman did this year, and then get his big contract. Because it's looking like when I was in LA, Syndergaard was pitching to the injured guys on the Mets, the Guillaumes of the world, Lindor. He was pitching to those guys on the mound before the game on Saturday in LA. So he was pitching. It was live batting practice with Lindor and Guillaume. They would go back and forth. Syndergaard looked good. He was throwing hard. You heard the pop of the glove. He looked good. I was right there. I actually have. I'm going to show you a picture of it really quick. Just give me a second. Sorry, I have a lot of pictures, guys. Hold on. All right, here you go. Hold on. All right. That should be the best one. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but right there, that was Syndergaard in LA on the mound. So that is a good sign, but it's looking like the Mets are going to put him in the bullpen, and that makes so much sense. It makes so much sense to put him in the bullpen, only because you can't put him in your rotation, and to ramp him up, you're going to give him 3 innings here, 4 innings there. The time he ramps up, it's October, And if we're not in the playoffs, it's worthless. So I think it's better off, maybe you might need Syndergaard for 2-3 innings, one game. A starter doesn't do well. You throw him in there for 2 or 3 innings. That's the role he should be. In an inning where you need a relief guy to shut down the inning, boom, Syndergaard comes in. Your starter doesn't do well in the first couple of innings, boom, Syndergaard comes in for 2 or 3 innings. That's what they should do with Syndergaard. So I think it's a good move. Yeah, Bill, it's Carrasco's been through a lot, it really has. And you know, I don't, the guy beat cancer, and that's great for him personally and everything like that. But in 2020 and even what was it, 2018, he had the cancer and everything. I think it's 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. If check me on that, but for sure, Gio, what's up? How you doing, buddy? Thank you for tuning in. LFGN, baby. Like, I still think Carrasco has a lot in him, but we can't rely on a 34, 35-year-old guy to be our number 2. That's why I think it's important to sign Stroman in the offseason, offer the qualifying offer to Syndergaard, which I think he'll take, because I don't think anybody is willing to take a chance on Syndergaard, because not only Syndergaard had Tommy John, before the Tommy John, he had the lat injury, he had other minor injuries that it was a trickle-down effect up until the Tommy John. So there's not a lot of teams that are going to give him 4 or 5 years, $100 million, $100+ million, because he hasn't shown any signs of being healthy over the last couple of years. So he will probably take the qualifying offer. He's still young. So taking that show me type deal, I think he is the same age as Stroman, or a year or two younger. So, he can risk taking that qualifying offer, get $20 million for the year, and pitch well, and then get a big contract. Just like Stroman is going to get a big contract this year, betting on himself. So, I think that the Mets got to be careful how much they give Stroman, because look, I wasn't the biggest fan of Stroman. Stroman shocked the hell out of me this year, because I think that Stroman is a me guy. I don't think he's a team guy. I think he has his few guys that he's really cool with, and that's how he is. And on top of that, I think that Stroman, as cocky as he is, I think 100% he is not going to be the same pitcher he was this year after he gets his contract. I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel that way. Even when the Mets signed Cespedes to that 4-year deal, I felt like Cespedes got what he wanted and was never going to be that guy again that we had in 2015 and parts of 2016. That's just me. So everybody who thinks that Stroman is going to be the guy who he was this year after he gets his contract, I think you're going to be in for a rude awakening. He is not going to be the same guy. I'm telling you right now. He seems like the guy who gets his money. He will pitch every 5th day, but I don't think he's going to be the dominant guy that we've seen this year. The consistency. I just don't see that. Thomas, thank you for tuning in. Hit on that like button, buddy. Thomas, absolutely. That's a good call. We don't talk about it a lot, but Aaron Loop has been our best reliever. Lewis, how you doing, buddy? Loop has been our best reliever. He's been great all year. This is the guy that Mets should think about giving a 2-year contract to. He's a good lefty to have. He can get righties and lefties out, as you've seen all year. Thomas, that's a great call on that. A great comment. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for pointing that out. Loop, 100% should get a contract from the Mets. But you know what? There might be some competition for him, too. As good as he's been. That was a good pickup by Sandy. 100%. I'm not going to sit here and when the Mets got Loop, I wasn't going to be the one sitting here saying, oh, yeah, I know all about Loop. I didn't. I had to look at his stats. He wasn't great with Tampa Bay. He wasn't great, but he was good. I'm looking at his stats. I watched a couple of videos of him. That's about it to get a little bit of knowledge because I'm not going to, sit here and talk to you guys and act like I know when I don't. I'm just not that guy. I'll be honest with you. I had no idea who Loop was when the Mets signed him. I honestly didn't. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? But when I saw his picture pop up when I Googled him, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen him before. And then looking at his stats with Tampa and everything like that, oh, okay, he's not bad. I don't expect the reliever to have a 1 ERA or under 2 ERA, but he had a 3.5. But you got to remember, he was in the NL East, he's in the American League. Better hitters with DH. So expect the ERA to be a little higher. But I never expected him to be this good, to be a big part of this bullpen. No, I mean I wanted Justin Wilson. I think a lot of us did, but he's been a disaster for the Yankees. So he's been injured. So that's a good call, Thomas, on Luke. Great call. Bill, there's not a lot of free agents. What are you talking about free agent wise? Like pitching? Because if you're looking at the free agent list position wise, take away all the shortstops. Because, besides Baez, there's nothing the Mets are going to get shortstop wise. So with that, I think there's, Chris Bryant. There's a couple of players. I think it's Brantley again, if I'm not mistaken, because he signed a 1-year deal. There's not a lot of guys out there that can be impact players, position player wise, that can be a part of this team, that can help this team to change over this team, besides Chris Bryant. So, pitching wise, yeah, most of the Mets are the ones that are free agents. Familia. One guy that I think he's going to opt out is Nick Castellanos. That's a guy that's very intriguing. That's a guy that I think the Mets should 100% get. Listen, if the Mets can pull off an offseason by signing Syndergaard and Stroman and somehow getting Bryant and Castellanos, that is a turnover where Met fans can get excited about. You could put Castellanos in center or right, wherever you want to do that. Castellanos will be a better hitter than Conforto. But, he can be on the same level defensively as Conforto. I think Castellanos is a little better. He has a better arm as well as Conforto. And have Chris Bryant at third base. And then you can make a decision on Baez if you want him or not. And then you have to make a decision on Davis and McNeil. Maybe make a trade for a big-time starter as well. You never know. But I do think that if you can get Chris Bryant and Castellanos, that is a big, big move. That, I wouldn't be surprised because if the Mets don't make the playoffs, I think Cohen is going to make a lot of changes, guys. And I think he's going to do everything he can to make this team a contender, 100%. I think he put a lot of trust in the Alderson, and I do think that Cohen is the type of guy that when he makes a mistake, he does not make that mistake again twice. And I think he realized that putting too much trust in Alderson was a bad move. Because Alderson is a laid-back type of guy who doesn't push for a deal. He'll lay back in the weeds and wait until all the dominoes fall and then make his move. That's not always the way to go, as you've seen this trade deadline. I think he missed out on a trade that where the Mets could have had Chris Bryant and Baez on this team, along with Trevor Williams. And that would have made a difference. Now, I'm not saying it would have made a difference pitching-wise, but I'm pretty damn sure that the Mets could have probably scored a little bit more runs and won a couple of more of those one-run games we lost and put us closer, if not still in the lead in the division. And I think Sandy Olson dropped the ball on that. And he has to pay with his job, in my opinion. Daniel, that's awesome. Cole, I understand, but Stroman was never Wheeler. I get what you're saying, but with Wheeler, we saw how good he was getting. He was progressively getting better And we knew Wheeler was going to be better. It's just that the Wilpons were cheap SOBs. And that cost us. Because I do believe if Cohen was the owner, Wheeler would still be a Met. And Stroman was never better than Wheeler. And I still feel that Stroman is the type of guy who gets his money, who will pitch every fifth day, but wouldn't care less if he does go to bed because he got his money. You got to remember, Stroman never got a contract as of yet. Remember, he was playing through his rookie contract. Was going to be a free agent this year. And it only makes sense that it was like a perfect storm for Stroman. The pandemic hit, players were allowed to opt out. He did, knowing that he's not going to risk getting hurt in a 60-game season and risk being out this year in his contract year. So business-wise, it was a smart move. Teammate-wise, and for the team mentality, it fucked us. Because we were expecting when he had that, I think it was a heel issue or something like that, he was just about to come back before he opted out. And that put the Mets in a big hole, pitching-wise. And we never recovered. That's the problem I have with Stroman. And that exactly who I think Stroman is. When the Mets were counting on him coming back, there was no understanding that Stroman was going to opt out. He never said anything until he opted out. That's a problem. And that's the way I think Stroman is. Stroman is the type of guy who I think does not care about anybody else but himself and his small little circle, which that small little circle is Dom, Taijuan Walker. It might be probably another guy on the team. Baez seems like a guy with him and Lindor, like that. I don't think Stroman is the guy that is going to go out every fifth day and be the guy that we saw this year. Got to be careful. Some players have career years in their contract year and never have that again. This is Stroman's career year. He's never pitched better than this year. You got to be skeptical a little bit about that. And that's what I worry about with Stroman. Cole, absolutely. Castellanos, we were just talking about, he's a stud. He's going to opt out because he's had a great year, and there's no doubt he's going to get big money. And if the Mets are smart, if Cohen pays attention, the New York Mets only have to use money to get Bryant and Castellanos. That's a huge difference in this lineup. How would it be, Jose? How you doing, buddy? Lugo is good. For some reason, Rojas doesn't like to pitch him a lot this year. I don't know why. Maybe it's an injury issue. Maybe it's health. I don't know. But just imagine Chris Bryant behind Alonso, giving him support. Castellanos in front of Alonso. I mean, talk about having a lineup that is dangerous. That's a dangerous lineup. Even with the DH, if that's probably going to be a possibility. That's an insane lineup. But Castellanos, Bryant, Alonso, Smith. That's a lineup. Nimmo. That's a pretty good lineup. Baez, Lindor. Geez. Bill, I'm agreed. The coupons, exactly, Bill. Yep. Yeah, Colin was hauled back one year. There was a little chatter in 2019 about the Mets selling the team. We heard about it, but it never came to fruition for whatever reason. Vulgarians, what do I think about Quattlebaum, or as I think I like call him, Quattlebaum? Well, that's exactly what he is. He's a bum. You know what? I think the Mets made I'm not big on hitting coaches, but it was clear that the philosophy the Mets wanted was not what Chili Davis. Remember, when Chili Davis, he cared about home runs, but what he did with McNeil and Davis and Alonso and Smith, You know, he focused on the line drive mentality. You know, the level swing. You saw it. Like if you go back last year in 2019, and you saw the swings by Davis, Alonso, McNeil, Smith, their level swings that they had was beautiful. Come fast forward to 2021, all of them have major uppercut swings, that launch angle swing. And I think with Quattlebaum and his philosophy, I think it's too much relying on look. It seems like to me that their philosophy is look, breaking ball off speed and adjust to the fastball. That's what I see. Because I never seen a major league team, as I said earlier in the stream, I never seen a major league team swing so late on fastballs in my life. You know, like I said, every now and then you'll see a batter guess on the pitch, be like, you know what, I think, you know, it's a 2-2 count. You know, oh yeah, I think this guy's gonna throw a curveball. You know, you're sitting on a curveball, the guy throws 96 past you and you're late on it. That happens. It's baseball. But to have an at bat like Davis had, Alonso had, I seen it with my eyes in the Dodger series. Right down the right field line. So with Davis and Alonso, I seen direct because they're right-handed batters. How late they were on, especially Davis, was so late on fastballs. I believe it was the ninth inning with Jansen. 3 straight fastballs, letter high, swinging late on every one of them. Now, after even the first pitch, you're like, oh, okay, I think this guy's going to, you know, try to get me, you know, letter high with a fastball because I haven't been catching up to him. You would think they would think that. Lay off of it. I just don't understand that. You know, let him work his way down with the fastball. Maybe he can catch up to it there. So it was crazy to me. So I think the philosophy that Quattlebaum and the Mets organization decided to go with clearly is not working. And you can't fire another hitting coach now because it just looks like the Mets are not going to fire Quattlebaum because that shows that it just proves that they made a mistake changing hitting coaches, that they were wrong. And no team is going to make that decision, at least not during the season, to fire 2 hitting coaches. Just doesn't make sense. So I think it was a big mistake to fire Chili Davis. Hayden, what's up, buddy? Do you think Rojas is done after this year? This whole no swing with a lot of our pitchers this year and with Stroman in Philly, that was more of an organizational decision, I think. I think that was the plan going into the game, and Rojas just followed that plan. But what I don't like about Rojas is I don't think he can manage a bullpen. And I think that's the one thing that the manager has somewhat control over when it comes to what happens with a decision in the game. You know, obviously they got the plan on the piece of paper. All right, you know, this is going to happen this game and vice versa. But with the Stroman thing, I think that was an organizational decision. And I think that was their plan, coaching-wise. I don't think Rojas is good managing a bullpen. And I think sometimes I don't think he knows what he's doing. And I think if it was up to Cohen, I think Cohen didn't want to get rid of Rojas after the 2020 season because I think he wanted to give Rojas a chance because he's been with the organization so long. I think Cohen was like, yeah, I think it's fair to give him a chance. If it's right or wrong, I mean, you obviously, you know, when you're at this point now, the Mets are not in the playoffs and not leading the division, you could say, all right, maybe that was a bad call. But at the moment, I could say, you know what, you can give Rojas a shot. Why not? Maybe we'll hit lightning in a bottle with a manager. But I think that Rojas is gone, to answer your question. I think he's gone. I think Cohen is going to want a baseball guy. Whoever that might be, you can come up with names. There's a lot of options. You know, is he going to go with the experienced guy, or is he going to go with another young guy with no experience? I don't know. But I think he's going to go with the more experienced guy. I think Cohen is not stupid. He doesn't make the same mistake twice. I think he's going to go with a more experienced guy in my decision, in my opinion. Yeah, Bill. That's basically what it sounds like. No clutch hitting, take advantage of pitch to hit, fastball swinging through, taking fastballs right down the middle, which I've seen a lot of at the Dodger game as well. I don't think the organization does that with any decision with the bullpen. I think Hefner's done a good job. I think he knows his pitches. I think he's good. He was a former pitcher. Former pitchers usually really know what the hell they're doing when it comes to that, especially with a pitching coach. And I think Hefner's good. But once again, you're going to bring in a manager. You want him to have his own staff. So Hefner might be gone as well, even though he's done good. Yeah, Bill, exactly. Cohen gave everybody a chance, and that's okay. That's okay. It comes to a point where it's the players that have to perform, but sometimes you can tell when a manager or a coach is over their heads. And I think the Mets decision, whoever's decision that was, if it was an all-decision to get rid of Chili Davis, to bring in Quattlebaum because his philosophy fit with what Alderson and Scott wanted, who knows? We never know that answer. But it's clearly the wrong philosophy. That has to change. Lawrence, how you doing? They're not going to bring JD Davis to the minors. I think he's probably more of trade bait than he is a guy, not now, but, a trade bait type of guy in the offseason. And McNeil, because it seems like Baez, I think the Mets might bring back Baez. I think Baez, I think somebody said it in the comments. Let's see. Yeah, Cole said it. With the energy, I love it too. He can be a little nuts sometimes, but Lindor comes back today, so we're gonna see it for the first time. Lindor at short, Baez at second, so that's gonna be nice to see. So we're gonna see that energy, and you know what? We need the energy right now. We need to roll up a couple of wins in a row, guys. At least the Mets got to go 7-3 in this 10-game homestand. Nothing less. Obviously, it's better if it's more. But I'm realistic. The Mets have to go 7-3. It's gonna be rough. I know. We got the Giants, the Nationals, and the Marlins. The Giants are going to be tough. For some reason, the Mets have problems with the Nationals and the Marlins, but they're better than those teams. You got to beat them. That's it. No question asked. You got to do it. So, obviously, it starts with the Giants over the next 3 games. Giants are the best team in baseball. But if you look at the scores, we're gonna go over it right now. If you look at the scores of the games in the Giants in San Francisco, we lost 7-5, 3-2, 6-2. All right, the last game 6-2. Probably not a game you would have won, but 7-5 and 3-2. The Mets could have easily won those games. They had tons of men on base. They could have easily won those games. So I think the Mets are this close to winning in that West Coast trip. Out of the 6 games, if I'm not mistaken, I lost count sometimes. 7 games on the West Coast. They could have easily won 4 of them. Look at the games. 7-5, game 1 against San Francisco. 3-2 against San Francisco. 6-2. All right, probably not. They would have won that game. The first game against the Dodgers on Thursday, they lost 4-1. All right, maybe they would have won that game. But Friday, 3-2. Saturday, 4-3. Games we could have easily won. We could have went 4 out of the 7 games. But we only took 2 out of 7. It's things like that. Even in the when we were home against the Dodgers, we lost 6-5, 2-1 in the Friday and Saturday game. Obviously, Sunday we got killed. But those are games that we could easily won. It's games like that. So we weren't getting killed by the best teams in baseball. We were barely losing to these teams. So, a hit here, a run there, we win them games. And now that we're getting healthy, we got Lindor back. We got Baez back. It's going to help this lineup. We got to score runs. Pitching has been pretty decent, but we have to score runs. Hayden, send them. Send them on Twitter. Send them wherever you got to send them. I want to see those Rays. Hayden, I don't want Davis on his team next year. So I think the Mets are going to find a way to make a trade in the offseason. Maybe like a Davis McNeil type of trade. Depending on what the Mets do to sign players like a Baez, a Bryant, a Castellanos. That's going to determine a lot with. But I think if the Mets are aggressive and they sign these guys as early as possible or whoever they want, it gives the Mets options to make trades, to trade Davis, to trade McNeil. That's what I'm saying. Cole, no, I'm not doing the game stream. Unfortunately, I've been gone from work for a while on vacation, so I actually got to go to work at midnight, so I got to, get some sleep. So I'll probably really watch the game or most of it and get some sleep since I didn't get a lot of sleep in LA for the last week. So, but I will be here for another half hour until 6:30 call. I'll probably do a game stream probably Sunday, maybe Monday, depending on how work turns out. I got to look at my schedule, see what's going on. But most likely, I'll probably do a Sunday live stream during the game or a Monday, probably most likely. Sorry, Cole. Sorry to disappoint. But I've been on vacation about a week, so a little over a week. So I was out. The 7 line was out on Saturday. A lot of you guys probably seen the orange shirts. So I don't know where my orange shirt is, but it's around. Everybody in the orange shirts in right field, or down the first baseline in the upper deck. 1,200 of us. It was fun. Obviously, we lost, but I was hanging out with a lot of my friends I haven't seen in a while. A couple of my friends live in California, so a couple of guys I went to school with, a couple of guys I met through the 7 line that live in California. I hung out with them a lot. You go to LA, you got to enjoy the sights. I went to the Hollywood sign, I went to Hollywood Boulevard, all that fun stuff. So, I got some pictures I'll show you guys if you're interested. But let's see. Also went to Universal Studios and in LA, stuff like that. You always got to have a Staples Center picture. If I can get one. One of those bad boys like that. I don't know if you guys can see. Like that. What else we got? Let's see what's going on here. Let's see. You got to go to Venice Beach because that's what you got to do. Go to Venice Beach. Hang out on the beach. The Hollywood sign. Of course, got to represent with the Mets. Right there. Representing. So, you got to have some fun in LA. But yes, I enjoyed LA. A lot of fun. Friends. My dad. So that's cool. All right, man. I'll definitely check him out. Hit him. No problem. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Gio. Yeah, so, like I said, I was planning on going to 3 games in LA, but the problem is, I got there on Wednesday night. Things to do. I went out with my friends to eat. Thursday, was the first game in LA. We decided to check out Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard and all that fun stuff, Beverly Hills and all that stuff. So Thursday and then Friday, me and my dad went hiked up to the Hollywood sign, and then Saturday was the game that I went to. Went to the beach after, so and then Sunday we went to Universal Studios. So it was a long day. The flight on Monday was delayed because of the hurricane in New York and all that crap. So it was a lot. So it was fun. Obviously, the game I went to on Saturday, the Mets lost. Got a little exciting late when Alonso hit the two-run homer, but nothing new. Oh yeah, Vulgarians for sure. The pizza was not good there, even though I did have it's called Pizza Boy in Glendale, California, north of LA. That was pretty good actually. It was look, it's not New York pizza, but it was doable. It was manageable. But the pizza's not the same for sure. That's right. Mets under the Hollywood sign. Absolutely. Look, I've said this from the beginning, and if you guys haven't seen my video, about I think I did it about a week ago about the DeGrom injury. It was an update. Check it out. I put a lot of pressure on the Mets, on DeGrom about pitching because what is the injury? Inflammation is not an injury. It's a soreness. Is it painful? It could be at times, but he hasn't pitched in a month and a half. All right, cool spin. Have a good day, buddy. So in a month and a half, inflammation in the elbow, it just seems like it's probably discomfort. And, sooner or later, like your team's struggling here. We need our ace. You have to step up and actually help your team. Even if you give us 4 or 5 innings, it gives that energy that team needs, that they needed without Lindor, without Baez. We needed that energy. Anytime DeGrom goes on the mound, the team on the other side is like, damn, we don't got a shot today. It's a mind, it's a mental thing in that aspect. And I honestly think it's more mental than physical with DeGrom, in my opinion. I could be wrong. We all could be wrong. But I think you have to pitch through it. Being out 2-3 weeks to make sure it ain't nothing, physical or, a ligament or something of that nature, structural, that can be a problem. But how many MRIs are going to show that there's nothing structural? It's just inflammation. Okay, so, put some ice on it. Maybe get a cortisone shot. Get out there. Like, I just don't understand it. And I think Zach Scott, when he had that interview and called out the players about, it's up to the players to take care of their bodies, I think a lot of people thought that was a direct shot at Stroman or other pitchers, Syndergaard, etc. I thought that was a direct shot at DeGrom, in my opinion. But check out that video about DeGrom that I did about a week ago. If you haven't yet, please do. You'll see how far I get into detail about DeGrom and the Mets and about Scott with that interview and everything like that. So check that out if you haven't yet. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I think DeGrom has, and you know what? Say if the Mets go on a 6-7 game winning streak, get back in the division, 1 or 2 games. Is DeGrom not going to pitch? What happens if he can pitch, but the Mets decide to shut him down? So I think it's going to, that's why I think this homestand is probably the most important of the season. And I know we say that a lot, but with the 10-game homestand, it's going to determine if DeGrom comes back or not. I think if the Mets are about 3, even 4 games out, I think that DeGrom will come back if he's capable. If the Mets don't have a good homestand, there's no point in bringing him back. You might as well shut him down, make him rest, let him come back next year healthy, 100%. So I think We have to. It's a decision that the Mets are going to make during this 10-game homestand. Mets have a great homestand. I think the Mets have to push DeGrom a little bit. Like, hey, listen, come on, let's go. So Eddie, what do I think about the game tonight? We got McGill on the mound. I'm expecting him probably to give up 2 or 3 runs, 5 innings, maybe 6. I think he'll pitch well. I think the Mets are going to have an offensive explosion tonight because the Baez back with Lindor. The lineup is getting healthy. There's a lot of, it's a lot of help to this lineup having Baez and Lindor. You saw what Baez can do when he came back on Sunday. He put a jolt to this team. We scored 7 runs. It rejuvenized this offense. And with Lindor coming back, it's just going to make it better. So, in my opinion, I'll type it in. Just give me a second. Just give me 1 second. One second. Almost there. All right, here we go. So that's what I think the score is going to be tonight. Mets 6, Giants 4. I think the Mets are going to score some runs here. I think McGill is going to hold them to about 2 or 3 runs. The bullpen's going to come in, might make it a little shaky, but I think the Mets are going to win 6-4. Diaz with the save, and I think we'll go from there. So I think the Mets will win tonight. I think it's a good start that we got Lindor back. With Baez, the jolt of energy is going to help this team, no doubt. But I do think if the Mets have a really good homestand, and a really good homestand, in my opinion, is 7-3. I think that's the least they can do to stay in this division. 7-3. If it's more, great. But 7-3, I think keeps us in the running within 3 or 4 games of the division going into Labor Day. And I think if we're at that point, 3 to 4 games by Labor Day, I think you're going to hear news if DeGrom is going to come back or not. Because if it is more serious than they're telling us, they might as well shut him down. Don't even risk it. But if it's just inflammation, as they're saying, if the Mets are 3 or 4 games out, you have to bring them back and tell them, listen, let's go. Pitch through it. That's all I can think of. Once again, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Hit on that like button, guys. You're new to the channel, hit on that subscribe button. Talkin Mets with Rob here with you live until 6:30, until the Mets pregame on SNY. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate all the comments right now, all the good conversations we're having. Obviously, this is what we do. This is what we like. Lineup just came out. I just saw it, Bill. I just got the notification as well. All right, give me a second. Zach Scott speaks again. So here is your lineup tonight, guys. Brandon Nimmo first. Pete Alonso batting second. Francisco Lindor batting third, playing shortstop. Cleanup hitter is Baez playing second. Batting fifth, Conforto playing right. J.D. Davis sixth, playing third. Jeff McNeil in left field batting seventh. Pat Mazika eighth catching, and McGill pitching batting ninth. So Smith is not in the lineup, which is interesting. But again, it's hard to put everybody in. But there is a lefty on the mound, which, again, Smith hits lefties, but I guess he wanted another bat in the lineup. I don't know. So it was either between McNeil or Smith in the lineup. Rojas went with McNeil. So we'll see how that goes. McNeil's been another one that's been mind-boggling to me. I never seen a guy who's batting 330 a year and a half ago and now barely cracking 250. So it's crazy. So it kind of sucks. Smith, he struggled this year. I never think Smith. I know Smith. Too many people got hyped with Dominic Smith because he hit that game-winning home run at the end of the season in 2019 against the Braves, And in 2020, he had a really great offensive season. And I think people took that to the point where thought he was better than he is. And Cole, I agree with you. I don't think he's a bum, but I don't think he's as good as we thought he was going to be. So it was either between McNeil or Smith. Maybe they felt McNeil was coming around a little bit, so that's why they chose him, put him in left field. So that's your lineup. It would be nice for the Mets to go on a nice winning streak. 6-7 games, that'd be really nice. Sorry, guys. One of my friends texted me. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so you know, I think McNeil and Smith is like a coin flip to me. They both been shitty this year. They haven't even been close to their potential. So either way, Smith or McNeil, it didn't really matter to me. It's just a matter of who they thought would be better in this lineup right now, and they chose McNeil. That's it. So, SoCal, what's up, baby? Absolutely. Baez is the heart and soul. You saw it on Sunday. Yeah, but like I said, I don't think he's a bum. I just don't think he's as good as everybody, a lot of Met fans projected him to be. They believed it. Yeah, Vulgarians, it'd be nice to win by 1 run. You know what? It's a little shaky because then Diaz comes in with a 1 run lead, scare the hell out of me. But any way to get the W. But yeah, like I said, I think we brought Dom into this. We put him on a pedestal because of a 60-game season, and I think that put us into the fact that we thought he was going to be better than he is, and he's not that much better of a player. Then he's probably in the middle of a bum and the season he had last year. He's probably in the middle somewhere. Yeah, Bill. Everybody has that. You know what? Some people just don't like some players. you know, I mean, I don't like JD Davis. I don't think he's close to a bum, but I mean, he's not there. I mean, he's a major leaguer. He's just not a good major leaguer. He's okay. So I don't agree with that. I think Lindor's gonna have a good game. I think that guy is gonna. I think with him and Baez up the middle. I just think it's gonna bring so much energy. I think Lindor's gonna have a good game. Him and Baez are gonna kill it tonight. Like I said, I think the Mets are gonna win 6-4 tonight. I think the Mets are gonna score some runs. You saw with just putting Baez into the lineup, what it does. We scored 7 runs. It's he was a catalyst. Getting base hits. Making that sweet slide that he made. He just brings the energy. He's a lightning bolt. That's what he is, and that's what I think Lindor is as well. So it's crazy. You got to get it going. And I think Lindor is going to be fired up that he's playing with Baez the first time since the World Baseball Classic with Puerto Rico. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, this homestand is going to tell if the Mets are going to have a September where they're in contention, or September that we've seen a lot of with this team that we've been through many years. If we're going to have a September where the Mets are not contending for a division and it's just to play out the rest of the season, or we're going to be in contention and it's going to be a very fun September. I have no problem going to games when every game matters. Scoreboard watching. We did it in 2019 with the wild card. When the Mets went on, what is it, 16 out of 17 streak? That would be nice for the Mets to do, but I don't see that happening. The 16 out of 17 streak where the Mets were getting closer and closer to the wild card. We were like a game out at one point, and then we just didn't have enough. But the scoreboard watching the Cardinals or whoever else we were behind, the Brewers and all that, it was just a lot of fun. And hopefully the Mets can make September fun for us. It might not turn out the way we want at the end, but to have a contending September where we have a shot to make the playoffs, that's fun. Even though I think the Mets should have won this division a long time ago, I think they should have buried everybody in this division, and it wouldn't have mattered what the Braves had done at the trade deadline and get as hot as they did. But the Mets kept everybody around, and that's what happens when you don't take advantage of the teams that have been struggling, that couldn't get out of their own way, and that's what happened. We end up being only a couple of games ahead, and it only took one team to get hot. Of course, it was the Braves, and they took full advantage of it, had a nice winning streak, had a great month of August, and basically got up 7 games on us. Now 6.5, 6 in a loss column. So sucks, but what are you gonna do? Now they have to, the Mets have to go 29-9. I said this earlier in the stream. If you weren't here in the beginning of the stream, the Mets have 38 games left. The Mets have 61 wins. To get to 90 wins, the Mets have to go 29-9. 20 games over 500. Is it doable? Mathematically, yes. Can the Mets do it? Without DeGrom, I don't think so. So that comes in effect. Sorry about that. I was checking my phone real quick. I want to see something to give you exactly what it is before I say something stupid. All right, so the Braves have 68 wins. So they have, let's see, 60. The Braves have 37 games left. So the Braves have to go 22-15. So only 7 games over 500 to get to 90 wins. So the Mets have to go 29-9, and the Braves have to go 22-15, or 22-17. What did I say? I don't know what the hell I said. They have to go 22. Yeah. So they have to go 22-15 to get to 90 wins. So the Mets have to go 20 games over 500. The Braves only have to go 7 games over 500 to get to 90 wins. So the Mets have a long test. So it's looking like if the Braves go 22-15, the Mets have to go 29-9 to match that 90 wins. So what that tells you is the Mets, when they face the Braves, which is only, I believe, 3 more times, if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm going to check, make sure I'm right. So let's see. The Mets don't play the Braves until the end of the season, the last 3 games of the season. So that don't really help us. So what the Mets have to do is, if they are close at the end of the year, 3 games, they got to sweep the Braves, right? That's obvious. But I don't think the Mets can go 29-9. I don't think anybody can do that. I don't think anybody can believe that the Mets can go 29-9. Of course, anything can happen, but I don't think that's going to happen. So what we have to hope as Met fans is the Braves have a little bit of losing streak where they'll go like 3-7 out of their last 10. In their last 10, something like that. Or even if they go a little bit under 500, go 4-5, 4-6 in their 10, stuff like that, and the Mets can pick away at the lead. Because if the Mets can hold the Braves to somewhat of like 87 to 88 wins, now we're talking about being 26-13 in their last, or 26-12 in their last 38. We have a game in hand because of that doubleheader we're having at the end of the homestand against the Marlins. So I think that if we can, it's looking, I honestly don't think anybody's going to get the 90 wins in this division. So, because the Braves have to play from here on out 7 games over 500. Can they do that? Yeah, it's obviously easier to go 7 games over 500 than 20 games over 500 for the Mets. So, but the Braves don't have an easy schedule, and I'm gonna pull up the Braves schedule right now for everybody. So this is what now. Obviously, they got the Yankees tonight. Let's go Yankees! By the way, for some reason, the Braves have 2 days off, Wednesday and Thursday. I don't know why. Now, the Braves are going to face San Francisco, the Dodgers, and Colorado. So they got to go on a West Coast swing. Well, not really. They played the 3 games against the Giants at home, 3 games against the Dodgers at home, and then they go to Colorado. So they're on the West Coast for 10 days. Let's see. 6. Yes. A 10-game West Coast trip. Well, no, 7-game West Coast trip. But they're playing 6 against the Giants and the Dodgers. That's why this homestand is so important. Because in that time frame, the Mets have a 10-game homestand. The Braves have a 7-game road trip to the West Coast. Plus, they play 6 games against the Dodgers and the Giants. That's why this is so important. SoCal, yes, it's only 7 games. It's 6.5 now, and 6 in a loss column. So technically, we're 6 games out. So let's hope the Yankees do some damage tonight and beat the Braves. Then the Braves got to play the Giants. The Giants for 3. The Dodgers for 3 in their next 6. And play 4 in Colorado. No matter how bad Colorado is, it is still Colorado. A lot of runs are going to be scored. Going out to the West Coast, the end of the West Coast trip, it would be nice if the Rockies could win 2 of those games. And then the Braves come home to play Washington, Miami, Colorado. Then again, they go back to San Francisco. They go to West Coast again to play San Francisco and Arizona. And then they play 2 at home on a Friday, a doubleheader against San Diego. Then they got to travel back to the West Coast for 2 games against San Diego. And then finish the year at home against the Phillies and Mets. So the Braves have a lot of games against the Giants, the Dodgers, the Padres, and they got to make a weird West Coast trip back. So their September is West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, and ending on the East Coast. It's a lot. So they don't have an easy schedule. So that's why this homestand is important for the Mets. 10-game homestand, at least 7-3. Because after the Yankee game today, the Braves got the Giants at home. Then they got to go to LA for 3. And then 4 in Colorado until they come back home playing Washington and the Giants and the Dodgers. Or the Marlins. Sorry. So that's the key to the Mets division hopes is these 10 games right now. Starting with the Giants tonight. The Mets have to take advantage of a schedule that the Braves are going to have that the Mets went through with all the Dodgers and Giants series over a 2-week span. Because that's all we played was the Giants and the Dodgers over 2 weeks. 13 games. The Mets have the opportunity to come back, win this division, take it from the Braves, get in the playoffs. Most likely, they'll probably face the Brewers in the playoffs in the division series. So, obviously, we It's not expected. The Mets have to go, once again, 29-9 in their next 38 to get to 90 wins. That sucks. It's probably not going to happen, but it's doable. But even if the Mets can go 26-12 or 26-13 or 26-12 or 25-13 to get the 87-88 wins, I think 88 wins is going to win this division. Sorry, I dropped my mic again. I think 88 wins is going to win this division. So that means the Braves have to go 20-17. Could that happen? Yeah, of course. But that means they have to win a lot of games against the Giants, a lot of games against the Dodgers, and have to sweep a couple of series against the Washington Nationals and the Marlins. Which, let's be honest, the Nationals and the Marlins have been pretty competitive. So we'll see. We got to see what happens, guys. But, Jose, I think so. Like I said, the Braves have been hot from the last week in July all the way until the end of until this point in August, the 24th. They've been hot. The Braves won a lot. The Mets lost a lot. It's very simple math. Can we get into a 10-game win streak? That's probably going to be tough. But let's be honest. We got the Giants. We got the Nationals, right? That's what I said. See, I'm going crazy. I'm checking all these schedules. I think that's what I said. Yeah. So we got the Giants, the Nationals, and the Marlins for 10 games at home. Can we please take 2 out of 3 against the Giants and beat the shit out of the Nationals and sweep their asses? Like I said, 7-3 minimum. 8-2 is even better. 9-1 is better. 10-0 is great.
According to appsforum.com, both are very nice.
So I think that can happen. But, with Lindor coming back with the Baez mojo, or whatever you want to call it, with all that energy, I think it's going to, like you saw the lineup. I'm going to read it again. With the lineup tonight. Nimmo, Alonso, Lindor, Baez, Conforto, Davis, McNeil, Mazika, McGill. Look at that. Everybody gets pushed down. Now you got your 3 and 4 hitter in Baez and Lindor, followed by Conforto, followed by Davis, followed by McNeil. That's crazy. That lightens the lineup a lot. So, it's not going to be easy for these Giants pitchers to get through a lineup like that. It's not. So that's why the Mets got to take advantage of it. Like I said earlier in the stream, the Mets lost a lot of 1-2 run games against the Giants and the Dodgers over the last 13 days. Let's go. A couple of runs here and there wins those ball games. We might have 2 or 3 extra wins. We might be we have 63, 64 wins instead of 61 right now. We might be a game over 500 or maybe at 500, but we're not. So we just got to wait and see. It's 6:30, guys. Half hour until game time. So I'm going to leave you guys here. Once again, guys, don't forget, guys, hit on that like button if you haven't already. Please hit on that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Talking Mets with Rob, with you here tonight for the last hour and a half. Enjoy the game, guys. Let's get that W. Tyler McGill on the mound tonight. Lindor back in the lineup with Baez up the middle, a short and second. Let's see if the Mets can pull off a 1969 miracle. 38 games to go. 6.5 games back. 6 in the loss column. Let's start it tonight, guys. 10-game homestand against the Giants, Nationals, and Marlins. At least 7-3 is what I want. I think that's going to get us right back in the ball game. Let's go Yankees tonight since they're facing the Braves. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys next time. Guys, as always, Met fans, let's go Mets. Have a good night, everybody.